Mutahar from the YouTube channel SomeOrdinaryGamers has recently come under fire from the greater internet community for a now privated video called, quote, Post Nux Clarity, in which he spends about 40 minutes going after a former podcast member, Nuxtaku, a VTuber who has previously been called out by many communities for what they see as hypocrisy when it comes to things like lolicon. Today I wish to focus on the beef between both of them, and in particular talk about the double standards at play from him, Nuxtaku, and a few other people who have caught strays in this fight. During the Chris Tice situation in July, one of the individuals that would be brought into the fray was Shadman, a highly controversial figure in the artist community due to his drawing depictions of real children. Chris had bought one of his posters and hung it in their house in the past, and when this info was resurfaced by the internet, Shadman, along with everyone that he used to associate with, was brought into question once more. This would lead to a witch hunt by the internet to find anyone who had, in passing, had anything nice to say or had wanted to collaborate with him. One of these individuals was Nuxtaku. Tweets would resurface from Nux where he would ask Shadman for a collaboration but would be rejected. This, along with other comments from Nuxtaku, would lead people to begin digging into his life and tearing apart everything he had done, such as thumbnails for his videos, which were previously more suggestive or zoomed in order to avoid the video from being removed. Like Shadman, Nux was being ripped apart by the internet, and anyone alongside him would be ripped apart as well. I'm sure you can see where this is going. Because Nuxtaku is friends with Mutahar, the next wave of questions would be turned to our Canadian Indian deep web browser. This led to a conversation between commentary channels Chud Logic and Nicholas Diorio with Mutahar, where they asked him questions about his associations with Nuxtaku and if he had known anything about Nuxtaku's past.
So I remember the time we were talking, you brought up the Nux Shadman stuff, which was a thing we looked at, just because you know that list came out on YouTube Drama about all the people connected to Shadman.
Mm-hmm.
So we talked to Nux briefly about it too. We asked what was the connection, and he just told me that it was like him fucking interviewing fucking Shadman, or asking for an interview, like one of these ironic things that he told me, which even at the time we were still looking in, and I got in touch with like a former editor way after we talked, and it did apparently seem like it was just him trying to reach out to meme or whatever, kind of like, you know, the Oompaville interview or whatever he explained to me when it came to Andrew Tate.
In this conversation, Muta would say that he was unfamiliar with Nux's behavior with Shadman and would do an investigation into it, and if it was found that Nux was worthy of kicking out of the podcast, he would. Things would stay mostly quiet on Mutahar's end until one of his videos would be clipped by Hassan Piker, the political streamer on Twitch.tv, where he judged Mutahar on his takes on YouTube content due to the fact that Muta had taken part in watching hentai on YouTube.
I would actually be expecting a ban. You know, a couple...
Would you? Those videos are on YouTube. They're on Twitter. It's a video that's hosted on YouTube and Twitter. It's not akin to ISIS, dumbass.
Like about a year or two ago, like I was actually assisting a couple smaller YouTubers who basically had memes.
There are literal neo on YouTube. What the f are you talking about? Apparently, some of them even, maybe not neo, but some YouTubers even sit around and do reviews of drawn hentai, lolicon. That's how little YouTube gives a about their own terms of service. You know, Mutahar should know that. Seemingly, he participated in a review of lolicon himself.
All this, along with a Reddit post made about him, is what I believe pushed Mutahar to make this video response. With all this out of the way, we can talk about his video response and what I disagree with. The talk of blinders comes up fairly early in the video, with Muta admitting that there was many times in which he felt blinded by Nux due to either the content he has on YouTube or the people that he has worked with.
But again, these were also smaller YouTube channels, so chances are they probably weren't swept up under the YouTube moderation, which is something that also should have really been considered from my end. It should have been something that I never watched in the first place. I should have never, you know, condoned. And honestly, it's pretty shitty to even contribute to somewhat normalizing this material. When there's a lot of large creators that work with a person, you know, you tend to have this level of like authority brought into it. And there is obviously a blind spot when this is somebody that you consider to be a friend at the time. And obviously when you work with that person and you see other large creators that you're also friends with work with that person, it just, again, swells up that blind spot that you make. But again, no real excuses over there. You shouldn't really have a blind spot in the first place. And again, it's not only me being a poor judge of character, but I should have absolutely have spotted this years ago. So for that, I absolutely own up to my here.
Now, I think it goes without saying that you'll sweep for a is pretty disgusting behavior, and no rational person would ever go out of their way to do so, right? Well, unfortunately, that outrageous example is exactly what Muta said in the clip that we just watched, and I find it frankly quite disgusting to think that way. Now, I know this will be contentious for some, and quite frankly, I don't care, but the content that Mutahar is talking about, the lolicon, is not even illegal, and at most considered obscene material in some of the United States and Canada. Hell, the content that Mutahar references doesn't even get classified correctly, stating that anything that is considered underage is lolly, when the correct definition for lolly literally just means underage or young-looking, which does not mean that every single lolly that you see in anime is considered to be underage. I think the best example that you could bring up is Rebecca from Cyberpunk Edge Runners. You see Rebecca? She is in her mid-20s, and she is considered a lolly by the creators of the anime themselves. Now, I can't speak for the legality of things like this outside of the USA. I know that in Canada, where he lives, lolly material could potentially be charged under obscenity laws like some US states that exist. However, I do believe that if that were something that were charged, it would be overturned in the higher courts due to the fact that we have First Amendment protections. With that short autistic explanation out of the way, I really do want to hammer home just how ridiculous Mutahar is acting in this video right now. Not only is he, by his own definition, okay with predatory content from friends of his, he is insinuating that Nux, by his own words, is also a predator or engages in illegal behaviors with other lolicon enthusiasts online. Quick note, Muta, by your own definition, that also makes you a predator because you consumed it as well. This all sounds horrible, especially considering that Mutahar has admitted at least once in the past to having a curiosity in watching and consuming cartel beheading videos. Something that, if we're being pearl-clutching individuals, is much worse to watch than fictional anime girls doing any sexual activity on the video screen. Funny enough, this kind of comment was something that Muta would address in the same video with a dry heave.
So I want to also address this statement as well. Now, on the podcast, I talked about a morbid curiosity that I have with like beheading videos, like cartel stuff on the internet. And I feel like I have to explain this a little bit more. My morbid curiosity comes from the fact that for a long time, for years at this point, I've been looking into the Mexican drug war. And if you ever followed like cartel social media, one of the weirdest things about their social media is you actually have like gang bosses, sicarios, like actual hitmen, like real hardened gangsters posting on Instagram, TikTok, posting on really any social media platform, their mansions, their extravagant lifestyles, they've got gold guns, Ferraris. It's really crazy propaganda they use to really house people in. So realistically, I don't enjoy or love watching this kind of stuff. If you ever watch my dark web videos, my dry heaving is insane, okay? Even if gore's not on the screen, I will throw up even thinking about these situations. So I don't watch these things for fun. But to give you a context about it, when I do come across this stuff in that specific context, it's more of me watching these things as part of my ongoing private investigation and research and morbid curiosity of a drug war happening where cowboys are raking in billions of dollars 2 hours south of the border from, like, what, Los Angeles? Like, literally right across the border of the United States from one of the richest countries in the world. You can have a nation where, again, billion-dollar gangs can effectively run entire portions of Mexico. It's an insane, wild scenario. You know, people talk about crazy, evil happening on the other side of the world. This is happening literally to the south of the border, and it's insane it's gone on this long.
However, I'll leave it up to you to decide how true his almost puking is. Now, I'll be real. I don't think that consuming or even watching, ironically, lolly content makes you a predator. I've stated many times that it is a case-by-case situation, and red flags differ from person to person. However, if I am to match Mutahar's standards and logic in this situation, the Canadian Mounties would have to take a long trip from Dev's house all the way over to SomeOrdinaryGamers' gamer shack. Mama Max is brought up a few times during this video in a Reddit post that explains how Mutahar does a bad job with vetting those that he chooses to get on screen with. To keep it short, Mama Max was an investigator on the internet that did investigations into child predators, and within the last 6 months was exposed for fabricating evidence for some of the people that he went after. With this information in mind, I have to wonder just how many extra blinders Mutahar and, quite frankly, the commentary keeps on when it comes to situations like this. The short answer I would give for all of this is that all of them are sweeping. This isn't something that's brand new to the commentary sphere. We've recently seen how many of them basically admitted to sweeping up for Bo Blacks and his behind-the-scene behavior for years, yet are so ready to call out the behaviors of others because they don't align with their moral superiority. And Mutahar, unfortunately, is no better. And in fact, I would say it's almost worse, because he would at the very least try to throw others associated with MommaOcco under the rug for not vetting their behavior.
And this goes for a lot of my favorite YouTube friends, okay? I like Moist Critical, don't watch every single Charlie video out there. In fact, I don't really watch much of YouTubers unless it comes to really, really specific things like speedrunning or, I don't know, 4-hour-long video game retrospectives. And again, this isn't really a defense. I most definitely should have actually been vetting people. And that's why going into, again, the future of my channel, I definitely want to keep collaborations to a minimum. I can't keep making a mistake like this because, again, if you're going to make mistakes, you got to learn from them. If you actively looked into Nux, you'd spot the weird pattern that follows the man, especially with MommaOcco. I don't know if it's bias you have, but if you're going to be critical of others, which I am, expect people to be critical of you when you platform weirdos and don't actually vet them. And I totally understand that criticism, and it's not something I want to actually keep happening in the future, okay? So if you make a video complaining about the fact that you're being criticized here, I won't be surprised if you snip half of this post and then act like we're all stupid. Which I'm not. I literally will not do that, okay? If it's one thing that I don't do ever, all right, and you're a long-time watcher, I'm not going to snip a post, okay? I'll respond to the whole thing. There's genuine criticisms of you that people are making in good faith because they like you and your content, exactly. And for those people, I'm making a video like this to really, again, address these situations. If you ignore that, that's on you. But it sure is weird that this is the second time now that you don't vet people and blindly vouch for them. Again, MommaOcco, the example used before, it wasn't just me vouching for this guy. Everyone in the community really did. Until, of course, shit hit the fan. People really started looking into this content. And even then, I was one of the large YouTubers that came out and really actually mentioned that, took accountability, in my personal opinion, and owned up to it.
Now, I'm not going to share any superior methods for vetting future friends before getting on camera with them. It is my personal opinion that at the very least you should look up their Twitter to see what kind of things they say, and quite frankly, if they actively post on Blue Sky, you might want to run away. All jokes aside, Mutahar does say in his video that he is planning to vet future people that he brings into his life, and I personally think that's a good idea. So about half a day after his video went up on YouTube, Mutahar would private the video on his channel and make a community post to replace it instead. This is what it says, quote, "Regarding the last video about Nux, while I can't be a friend after some of the recent things that have surfaced, I do feel I did do an overreaction that stemmed from being emotional on the reaction from the community on Reddit. I've been watching my content for the past few weeks. I have realized that my channel has slipped into a, quote, slop channel. I have made more drama-related content over the last several months than I have fun, engaging, and informative content. That includes producing videos that don't release daily. I need to take more time and release content a couple times a week that stands in quality and not quantity. I don't do this for a job, so honestly going out of my way to consistently chase trends has done nothing beneficial for me other than alienate my most hardcore fans. I need to take a few days off and reset and produce better content that isn't the latest trends or internet drama. While that produces a good view count, it's not the kind of content I want to be known for. I'll be back with content that I'm proud of. In regards to past collaborations, all I can do is apologize and promise to do better." Shortly after he posted this, a clip from Nuxtaku would come out where Nux claims that Mutahar called him and apologized.
Muta deleted his video, posted a community post, and then called me. And apologized. And, yeah, anyway, we'll see. We'll see what happens. Basically, the TLDR is, people bullied Muta into making a hit piece on me. And, it backfired, like, super big time. Like, super mega time. I mean, sort of backfired. Dude, I got some pretty DMs because of this, situation. People are reaching out being like, "Nux, are you associated with child?" It's like, wait, what? No. Obviously not. I mean, Keemstar's cool about that. He basically tweeted out that he thinks I'm a or something. Which is pretty cool. Classic Keemstar maneuver. Zero, evidence or information or anything. Like, they were trying to cancel me for lolly porn, which is ironic because I've never supported lolly porn. And also ironic because their definition of lolly porn is hentai in a high school setting. That's right. Literally every hentai. That's right. Are you a fan of My Hero Academia? You might be a So I got some classic people harassing me and stuff and like that, but that'll pass. I think anyone that actually looks at things rationally will know that none of this is real. And anyway, it's pretty stuff, basically. I don't want to dive into it right now. I'm gonna have a stream where we talk about things literally as far away from us as possible, and I am talking about Korea. That's right. We're going all the way to...
And that about wraps up the situation, as far as it can go. As of right now, not much has happened in terms of Muta. I assume in a little while he'll begin making videos again after he's decided if he truly hates his former friend Nuxtaku. We do know through Nicholas Diorio that Muta has been leaving group chats, so maybe Muta is cleaning up the list of people that he considers friends. Now that would be the end of the video. However, I feel like spending a few minutes at the end of this video to tell you a tale of caution. A tale that can happen to any small-town Minnesota lawyer or any obese fat American hiding in the country of Mexico. And that is the tale of the Sonichu Medallion. For you see, as long as such a thing has existed on this earth, the demonic entity known as Sonichu has leapt from person to person, with every single one having horrible things happen to them. It started with the holy goddess Chris Chan and their mother, then Ethan Ralph, and then Nick Ricada, and now it has fallen to Mutahar, the Some Ordinary Gamer. I, as a Christian octopus, and in my brief mid-20s and on this time on Earth, have come to realize that it doesn't matter what you believe in. You don't tempt demons or evil things. If I can implore any of you today to take anything I say to heart, do not buy a Sonichu Medallion. Every single person who's held on to it has had nothing but woe upon them, and surely will bring the end of the world if we don't stop its production. Anyway, that's gonna be about it for me today. I really felt like this was an interesting video to go through, considering just how close Mutahar and Nux was. I do believe that people try and say that they weren't close friends or that they didn't do things together, but it is my belief that Nuxtaku and Mutahar were probably actually pretty decent friends. It is my opinion that you don't really just get on a podcast together with random people that you're not willing to, at the very least, talk to a little bit off camera. And so I feel like this is honestly very sad, personally. You might say that Nuxtaku kind of deserves a little bit of this, considering how much he's backstabbed the community he's come from, saying all the nasty things that he has said about Lolicon, and now this is happening to him. In my personal opinion, that doesn't matter. What matters right now is that Mutahar has come out, said a bunch of things that are not true about Lolicon and about Nuxtaku, and I felt like that was important to talk about, you know? Maybe this can spawn some sort of interesting conversation in the comments. I'm not quite entirely sure. But thank you so much for watching today. Please remember to like the video, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and comment, of course, on the video below if you feel so inclined to. I want to give a special thanks to the amazing Lolly Elf Eva, who is a lawyer that is also a lolly and also an elf, and she is actually a lawyer that works in America. She's not from Central Town, Minnesota, though. She lives somewhere in America. I'm not quite sure. If she's a Keebler elf, she probably lives in an oak tree. But anyway, that's going to about do it for me today. You guys have a fantastic rest of your day, and I will see you on the next one. Bye.